Hey Noah, let me ask you, what do you think business English really is? I mean, how's it different from regular English?
Good question. To me, it's like English, but more focused on work stuff. Meetings, emails, negotiations. It's about sounding clear and confident in professional settings.
Exactly. And it's so important, right? I mean, think about it. If you want a high-paying job overseas or even a promotion in a big company, you need professional English.
Totally. You can't avoid it if you're working in international businesses or even just climbing the career ladder.
And the good news? It's not as formal or scary as it sounds. Actually, it's often simpler than you'd think. It's all about learning the right words and phrases for work.
Yeah, I like to think of it as practical English, not perfect English. Once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy.
Exactly. And by the way, we've already talked about things like how to argue in English in our last episode, where we mentioned an excellent method, the PrEP method. So if you missed that, definitely check it out. It's great for learning how to handle disagreements professionally.
For sure. And in this episode, we're diving into 5 common work scenarios. These are ones you'll face in almost any job.
Hey, before we get started, we just want to let you know that we will be covering more topics like this in the future, and we are pretty sure that this will be very helpful for you in your future work. And if there's a topic you want us to cover, like job interviews or writing emails, let us know. We'd love your feedback.
And don't forget to find the link we share below. We have extra tips and resources for business English there.
Meetings and discussions. All right, Noah, let's start with the first scenario, meetings and discussions. What do you think makes this one so important?
Well, meetings are where big decisions get made, right? Whether it's a team update, a brainstorming session, or a client presentation, they're at the heart of how businesses run.
And they're not just about talking, they're about listening, contributing ideas, and staying professional. But for English learners, meetings can feel like a huge challenge.
Totally. One big challenge is following fast-paced discussions. People speak quickly, and there's often a lot of industry jargon. Plus, jumping in to share your thoughts can feel intimidating if you're not confident in your English.
That's so true. And another thing, interrupting politely. Like, if you have something to add, you can't just jump in, right? You need to use phrases like, "Can I add something here?" Or, "Sorry to interrupt, but..."
Those little phrases make a big difference. And here's a tip. Prepare ahead of time. If you know the agenda, you can think about what you want to say or look up any tricky vocabulary. By the way, agenda is the list of topics for the meeting.
Great point. Another useful word is action items. It means the tasks or next steps that people agree on by the end of the meeting.
Right, like when someone says, "Let's review the action items before we wrap up." That's your cue to note down what you're supposed to do.
And here's something to practice. Active listening. Well, let's be honest. Most of the meetings are the kind that you don't really relate to, but you're invited to, and you feel like they're a waste of time. Even if you're not speaking much, show you're engaged. Nod, make eye contact, or say things like, "That's a great point," or "I see what you mean." It keeps you part of the conversation.
Good advice. And don't forget to clarify if you're confused. Instead of guessing, just say, "Sorry, could you clarify that?" Or, "Can you explain that a bit more?"
Well, meetings are all about being clear and collaborative. So don't worry about being perfect. Focus on being involved. Oh, and one more thing. Don't be afraid of silence. If you need a moment to think, just say, "Let me take a moment to gather my thoughts."
Love that. It shows confidence, not hesitation. Networking and introductions. Honestly, Luna, this is a scenario a lot of people stress over, especially English learners, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. I mean, introducing yourself at events, like making small talk with colleagues, or even starting a conversation with someone new, it can feel really intimidating. Well, intimidating means it might seem a bit scary or overwhelming at first, but it doesn't mean it's not approachable.
Yeah, but networking is so important. It's how you build connections, learn about opportunities, and make a good impression. It's as important as your skills.
Totally agree. What do you think makes networking hard for English learners?
Well, first, there's the pressure to sound confident. Plus, small talk can feel awkward if you're not used to it. And let's not forget, you're often thinking about grammar while trying to keep the conversation going.
Yeah, it's like you're juggling too many things at once. But here's a tip. Keep your introduction simple. Start with, "Hi, I'm Luna. I work in marketing department." Then, ask an open-ended question like, "What brings you here today?" Or, "How's your experience with this event so far?"
That's great advice. And for small talk, remember, you don't need to say anything groundbreaking. A simple, "How's your day going?" or "What do you think of the event?" works perfectly.
Exactly. And let's not forget about body language. Smile, make eye contact, and show you're interested. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Right. And here's an advanced word, rapport. Building rapport means creating a friendly, comfortable connection with someone. You can do that by finding common ground or showing genuine curiosity about them.
Good one. Another useful phrase is, "It's great to meet you." It's a simple way to make someone feel welcomed. And if you want to stay in touch, you can say, "Let's connect on LinkedIn," or "I'd love to exchange contact details."
Just don't overthink it. Networking doesn't have to be formal. Just be yourself and show interest in the other person. It's more about building relationships than being perfect.
Negotiations and agreements. Negotiating is all about discussing terms, whether it's with clients, vendors, or even your own team. It's crucial for getting things done, like securing resources or finalizing deals.
The key to a successful negotiation isn't just about what you want. It's also about how you communicate. A big part of it is emotional intelligence, which is being able to understand and manage both your own emotions and the emotions of others.
That's a good point. Emotional intelligence helps you stay calm, especially when things get tense. You want to show that you're understanding of the other person's point of view. For example, saying, "I understand your concerns, let's work through them," shows you're listening and open to solutions.
Right. And then there's persuasion. It's not about forcing your opinion. It's about guiding the other person to see things from your perspective. A useful phrase is, "I believe this is the best option because..." This makes your argument sound thoughtful and logical.
And while persuasion is important, saying no respectfully is just as critical. Sometimes you need to set boundaries. You can say, "I'm afraid that won't be possible, but here's an alternative we could consider." It's firm, but polite.
I like that one. Another great example of a polite no is, "That doesn't quite fit within our budget, but let's see if we can find another solution." It keeps the conversation going without creating conflict.
Great examples. And let's not forget about being flexible. In any negotiation, you need to be willing to compromise, but also know when to stand your ground. For instance, "I can adjust this part of the deal, but I need you to meet me halfway on this other issue." It shows you're open to negotiation, but clear on your needs.
So, the core qualities of a good negotiator are emotional intelligence, persuasive communication, and the ability to say no when needed, respectfully. If you can master these, you'll be much more successful in negotiations. Telephone conversations. Now let's move on to telephone conversations. This is something that a lot of professionals face every day, answering or making business calls. But it can be tricky, especially when English isn't your first language.
For sure. On the phone, it's harder to pick up on body language or facial expressions, so everything relies on your words and tone. Plus, the connection can sometimes be unclear, which makes it even more challenging.
So, what should you be aware of during these calls? First, clarity is key. Speak slowly and clearly, and if you don't understand something, don't be afraid to ask them to repeat themselves. You can say, Could you please repeat that? Or, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. That way, you don't miss important details.
Great example. And here's a key phrase to remember. Could you clarify that for me? It's a polite way of asking for more information without sounding like you didn't understand.
Right, and don't forget to confirm the next steps. For example, so just to confirm, we're meeting on Thursday at 10 a.m. That ensures there's no confusion.
Right. And tone is super important. You want to sound friendly and professional, but not too stiff. A good tip is to smile while talking. It can make your voice sound more positive and engaging.
Good tip. Also, don't forget to introduce yourself properly at the beginning of the call. Like, hi, this is Noah from accounting departments. How can I help you? It sets the tone for the conversation.
And if you're the one making the call, you can start with, "Hi, this is Luna from Sterling Properties. May I speak with John?" It's polite and professional.
Another important part of business calls is leaving clear messages. If you have to leave a voicemail, make sure to mention who you are, why you're calling, and a good time for them to call you back. For example, hi, this is Noah from Sterling Properties. I'm calling about contract signing. Please give me a call back at your earliest convenience.
And always end the call politely, even if it's a short conversation. You can say, "Thanks for your time. I look forward to hearing from you soon."
So, when making or answering business calls, speak clearly, smile to sound friendly, confirm key details, and be polite throughout. These simple tips will make your calls much more effective.
Performance reviews.
Let's talk about performance reviews. This is one of those important situations where your future in the company is often on the line.
Performance reviews are not just about feedback. They're about setting goals, discussing your growth, and, of course, negotiating promotions and raises.
And if you're preparing for a performance review, it's important to come in with clear examples of your achievements and how you've contributed to the team. It helps to be specific, like, I increased sales by 15% this quarter, rather than just saying, I've done well this year.
And it's not just about talking about what you've done. It's also about how you talk about your future goals. A good expression for this is, "I'm looking forward to taking on more responsibilities in the next quarter." It shows that you're committed to growing.
For sure, if you're negotiating a promotion or raise, the key is to show your value. You could say something like, I believe my work over the past year has shown my dedication, and I'd love to discuss the possibility of a promotion or salary adjustment. It's respectful, but also confident.
I like that. And if your manager brings up areas for improvement, it's important to stay positive. You can respond with something like, I appreciate your feedback, and I'm already working on improving in those areas. It shows that you're receptive and focused on growth.
Don't be afraid to ask questions during your performance review, like, what do you think I can improve on to reach the next level? It shows that you're proactive about your development.
That's a great question to ask. And remember, a performance review is a two-way conversation. It's not just about hearing feedback, but also about discussing your future. So, be sure to bring up your own aspirations and how you can contribute even more.
Right. And if you feel that you deserve a raise or promotion, it's important to bring it up at the right moment. You could say, considering my contributions and growth over the last year, I'd like to discuss a potential salary increase. It's direct but polite.
So, to summarize, be prepared with specific examples, show your commitment to growth, and don't shy away from discussing your goals and aspirations. That's how you can have a productive and successful performance review.
And don't forget, these reviews are about your future, so be sure to take the opportunity to align your goals with the company's vision.
Hey guys, don't forget to check out the summary of today's episode. We've shared it in the comments and description.
All the key points and business tips will be there, so you can review them anytime. And remember, you can always come back for more practical advice.
So, thank you all for tuning in today. We hope these tips help you navigate common work situations and improve your professional English.
If you have any feedback or topics you want us to cover, drop them in the comments.
Thanks again, everyone.
Take care, and we'll see you soon.